They say the forest is peaceful, but sometimes what lurks among the trees is far from harmless. Tonight you'll hear 3 true hiking horror stories. I've been hiking in the Pacific Northwest for years. Dense forests, moss-covered trees, and the smell of pine always calmed me. But one weekend in late September changed everything. The sun was starting to set earlier than I expected, casting long, distorted shadows through the towering evergreens. The trail I chose was quiet, isolated, and surrounded by dense foliage that seemed to swallow the fading light. My dog Max trotted beside me, nose pressed to the ground, occasionally lifting his head to sniff the air. Everything seemed normal at first. Then I noticed it, a subtle movement between 2 massive tree trunks. My heart skipped. A dark shape, perfectly still. My first thought was a deer, but the posture was wrong, upright, too tall, too deliberate. Max growled low, hackles raised. I froze, trying to convince myself it was my imagination. I called out, "Hello?" My voice sounded strange, echoing oddly among the trees. The figure tilted its head slowly, almost casually, and I felt the unmistakable sensation of being studied. I backed away carefully, keeping my dog close. My mind raced with explanations. Hiker in dark clothing, maybe someone lost, or a bear standing on its hind legs. But deep down, I knew something wasn't right. Suddenly, it moved. Not like a human walking, slow, fluid, almost gliding over the mossy forest floor. Leaves barely rustled beneath it. My stomach dropped. Max barked sharply, a warning I ignored at my own peril. I stumbled over a root, cursing silently. The figure paused as if waiting for me to make a mistake. I ran a few steps, then stopped, trying to control my breathing. The forest seemed to close in around me. The shadows elongated unnaturally, and the faint light filtering through the canopy made the trees look taller, darker. That's when I noticed something horrifying. Another pair of eyes glinting from behind a nearby shrub. 2 sets now. Fear completely took over. I turned and ran blindly, branches whipping against my arms, roots tangling around my feet. Max was at my heels, growling and barking, urging me faster. After what felt like hours, I burst onto a small clearing near my car. The figure was gone. No sound, no sign, nothing. I convinced myself it had vanished into the trees. Perhaps some local eccentric or another hiker playing a prank. But later, as I packed the car, I noticed scratches on a tree near the clearing. 3 deep, parallel gouges, high enough to suggest human shoulders. Since that day, whenever I hike alone, I can't shake the feeling of being watched. Max freezes for no reason, staring into patches of shadow, and sometimes, from the corner of my eye, I swear I see those same reflective eyes glinting back at me. Somewhere in those woods, something waits, and it reminds me. Every time I turned around, there was nothing, but the footsteps never stopped. I decided to hike alone in the Smoky Mountains, craving solitude. The trail was narrow, winding, and enveloped in a dense morning fog. Every branch and leaf dripped with moisture, and the forest had a strange, muted silence. Even the wind seemed cautious, and the usual chirping birds had vanished. For the first hour, the hike was peaceful. I could hear the crunch of my boots against wet leaves and the occasional snap of a branch. Then I heard it, faint footsteps behind me. My first thought, another hiker catching up. But when I looked back, the trail was empty. Fog swirled like smoke, hiding everything beyond a few meters. I quickened my pace, trying to convince myself it was my imagination. But the footsteps persisted, slow, deliberate, echoing my every step. My chest tightened with panic. I called out, "Hello?" Nothing. Just the eerie echo of my voice swallowed by the forest. The trail became narrower, trees bending over like twisted giants, I could feel the unseen presence moving closer, yet never visible. Each rustle of leaves, each creaking branch made me jump. I considered running, but where could I go? The trail twisted endlessly, disappearing into a dense wall of fog. Eventually, I reached a small clearing. I stopped, gasping for breath, listening. The footsteps stopped too. Silence. Then, snap! A branch broke somewhere behind me. I spun around. Nothing. My mind screamed that it wasn't human. The forest felt alive, watching, mocking me. I began walking again, faster this time. The footsteps returned immediately, unmatching mine exactly, taunting me. Then I heard a whisper, "Don't leave me." Carried through the fog, low and hollow, impossible to pinpoint. I ran. Branches whipped against my face. Roots tangled my feet. My lungs burned. Finally, I stumbled onto a wider trail leading back toward the parking lot. Morning sunlight barely filtered through the trees. I reached my car, trembling. Looking back one last time, nothing. No footprints, no figure. Only the eerie silence of a forest that seemed innocent by day but alive by night. Even now, hiking alone is impossible. The memory of those footsteps, perfectly synchronized with mine, haunts me. And sometimes, when walking familiar trails, I hear faint steps behind me, deliberate, patient, waiting for me to turn. The forest is quiet, until it decides you're not alone. I thought he was just another hiker, until he appeared at my campsite in the middle of the night. I planned a solo camping trip deep in the Rockies. I wanted isolation, fresh air, streams, and towering pines. The first day was perfect. Sunlight dappling the forest floor, birds singing, and the faint sound of a distant waterfall. I set up my tent in a small clearing, far from any trail. As dusk approached, I noticed a figure on a ridge just watching. I waved, assuming it was another hiker. The figure nodded but stayed in place, blending with the shadows. I shrugged it off, focusing on setting up a small fire for warmth and cooking. Night fell quickly. The forest became a vast black ocean, shadows stretching into unnatural shapes. Around 2 a.m., I awoke to the sound of footsteps crunching leaves. My blood ran cold. The footsteps circled my tent, slow, deliberate, and oddly synchronized with my own breathing. Max, usually calm, whimpered lowly. I whispered, "Who's there?" No response, just the soft padding of unseen movement. I unzipped the tent slightly and peered out. The stranger was at the tree line, faintly illuminated by my dying fire. His face was pale, expressionless, eyes fixed on me. I considered yelling, but something in the way he moved made me fear provoking him. I grabbed my flashlight and flicked it briefly. His gaze met mine for a second. Then he vanished into the trees, silent like a shadow. Sleep was impossible. Every snap of a branch, every rustle of leaves made me tense. I imagined him standing there just out of sight, watching every breath. At dawn, I packed in a hurry. When inspecting the campsite, I noticed subtle signs he had been closer than I thought, footprints too large to be mine, sticks arranged unnaturally, and a faint handprint in the dirt. I never saw him again. But camping alone is different now. Every night, setting up a tent, I feel those eyes on me. The forest, once peaceful, has become unpredictable, full of unseen watchers and patient strangers. Somewhere in the woods, strangers wait, and sometimes they follow. If these stories chilled you, like, comment and share, and subscribe, because the nightmares in the woods never stop.